Hey, Gore. I think that's one of the brothers' names, right?
Yeah. Hey, other brother whose name I don't know.
Yeah, one of them says the other brother's name a lot, and the other brother doesn't mention it throughout the entire movie.
I didn't even write it down in my credits. I should get the actual name.
The princess has been captured.
Oh, the canary has been taken. We gotta free the canary from the cage. It's a whole thing. Haha, comedy.
Whoa, it's a metaphor. I love metaphors.
Wait, no, I want the metaphor. Give me the metaphor.
You want the metaphor? That's okay. I liked it better without the metaphor.
Actually, I don't like the metaphor. You can have it.
That's okay. I liked the metaphor.
Let's do that joke 4 times in the movie.
At least that joke's better than the...
Oh, man.
What a classic.
Don't call this movie a classic. Don't call this movie a classic.
What a classic. What a classic movie with classic jokes.
Ugh.
What a movie really trying to be a classic.
At least it was a movie trying to be a movie.
It certainly was trying. Welcome to Oldie But a Goodie, the show where we review movies, and oh boy, have we got a doozy of a movie. If you haven't seen it, I implore you to not check it out.
It might be on YouTube. Don't watch it, though.
I implore you to look up things, because we will reference things, and you should go look them up, because it is horrifying.
And spoilers and things. Yeah, I think the cover photo is going to be the 2 guys, but you should look up the creatures from this film separately. I would put them all in there if I could, because, oh boy.
Absolutely.
Oh boy. My name's Sandro, your name is Zach.
My name's Gore now. That's my name.
My name is, Kuchek.
Kuchek, that was it.
Kuchek.
I think the guy mentions it once at the start, and then just refers to him as, like, bro or brother.
Spoiler alert for the whole movie. On Google, the sister is credited as Ismena and not as Kara, and that is incorrect, for she is both, and should be credited as both.
That's funny. On Rotten Tomatoes, she's only credited as Kara.
Interesting. I love that they tried to make that a twist.
Yeah, no.
I predicted it as soon as she showed up.
No. It was so obvious because at the start, they specifically say they adopt 2 boys and a girl.
Yeah.
They're doing all these things that are meant to be super clever and they're not at all. They're the dumbest things.
So these guys are 2, like, twins. They are bodybuilders, TV personalities, probably wrestlers. They feel like wrestlers. Is this whole movie just like an ego project for them? Because they never did anything else after this.
Probably.
Feels like it.
I mean, they could have genuinely been trying. I don't know. After this movie, it doesn't matter whether they wanted to do more things or not.
Yeah, this one was so bad they couldn't get any more roles. Maybe that's it. I also get the feeling that, like, the film was good until they showed up, and then I just went, oh no.
I did rather go downhill. Which is unfortunate, seeing as the movie's about them.
Because it's like they've been kidnapped for their whole lives and have been forced to, like, they've been tortured. They've basically been forced to become super swole steroid boys. Yet, as soon as they meet, they're like, we're cracking jokes. It's like, okay.
Yep. Look, it had problems, and I'm sure we'll get through all of them. Or at least most of them.
A few of them.
Anyway.
Why do the brothers kiss?
That's vital for the movie, Sandro. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the only movement I don't have any problems with.
As usual, this show is brought to you by Patreon. So to all our subscribers over there, thank you so much. If you aren't and do want to, you get bonus episodes plus a bonus review of Godzilla vs. Kong. We put that out. You can check it out if you want. We haven't seen it yet. What do you think your opinions on it were?
My opinions were better than yours.
That's almost definitely yes.
Whether that means it was more positive or more negative, I don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure your opinions were great. Just mine were better. That's all. I have the best opinions. Better than everyone else.
Okay, I'm gonna build a website. It's gonna keep out. No.
It sounds like a Squarespace ad.
Squarespace.
Yeah,
Sponsor us. What would we even promote? Because like most of the podcasts that get sponsored by Squarespace are like, we're about history. Go on Squarespace and learn about history. What would we be like? We're like,
oh, well, we're a history podcast as well. The history of these old shitty ass movies.
It's true.
So go onto the website and look at all these shitty ass movies that we've done. Look at our favorite quotes.
This always happens as well. Like, we watch 2 great films in a row, and then we get something like this, and we're like, every film we do sucks.
It's all bad. Every bit's bad. We hate it all. Life is pain. You know.
Okay, so you picked it. Your other options were Anguish, Spanish horror about 2 people go to a cinema, watch a horror film, someone in the audience is reenacting all the murders from the film in the audience. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Blind Date, rom-com where Bruce Willis goes on a blind date.
Love Bruce Willis, hate rom-com.
You like Bruce Willis? I mean, I guess it's the 80s. He was good then.
Yeah, that was his peak. That's when he's dying but harding, you know?
Oh, that doesn't sound good at all.
It's hard for him to die, you know?
Would you say there's not much time for him to die? No Time
no.
to Die, James Bond out in October.
No. Is he in that movie?
He shouldn't be. I was going to say he should be, then I remembered it's a new film. And I was like, no, keep Bruce Willis away from all new films.
Anyway, moving on.
And your other choice was Hard Ticket to Hawaii, where 2 hot cargo operators come across a stash of diamonds. Then a drug lord goes after him and tries to get him back. It stars Playboy models and is a part of a series of films called the Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs series.
Wow. That sounded...
Great?
Educational, is what I was going to say. Fun for the whole family.
Anyway, The Barbarians... released late March in 87. Now, I love this, because as soon as his name showed up in the opening credits, it was like, directed by Ruggiero Diodati. I went, wait a second, is he the guy that did Cannibal Holocaust? And he is the guy that did Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, Cannibal Holocaust!
The most controversial film of all time.
Nice!
A movie so controversial he got arrested after the premiere because the authorities thought he filmed actual murders. Yeah, he directed this, and I found out, weirdly enough, he wasn't the first choice. They had an original director.
I hate to say this, but I feel like he's not the first choice.
I mean, he made one of the most influential films of all time.
Yeah, that's true. It is very influential.
Is it a good It's an experience.
I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell you, but I've heard many things.
It is horror. You will be scarred forever.
Yeah, which is why I haven't seen it.
I think they kill turtles on screen. Anyway, it's also a Canon Group film, so it's produced by Menahem Golan, who was the director of that Sylvester Stallone film Over the Top. So everything's connected to him.
They're pretty over the top, you could say.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, sorry. Now, if anybody's wondering why we keep doing the weird breathing in, one of the Barbarians does that. He does that throughout the movie. His laugh is him breathing in, like, horrendously, because they thought that would be funny. And it is single-handedly the worst part of this film.
Is it a wrestling thing? Is that their wrestling thing?
I have no idea. No.
That's something that I think wrestling fans would find funny. I mean, sorry, wrestling fans.
I mean, I think it'd be more funny as, like, an intimidation or, like...
Yeah.
Make it, like, it's more goofy, you know, which suits, like, a wrestling persona. Not just a bit in a movie. I don't know. It's weird, and it's really annoying whenever he does it. I'm taken out of the movie. I'm like, please stop. Oh my god. It was painful.
I hated that. I hated that a lot.
That was definitely the worst bit of that movie, for sure.
It's not a criticism. It just really annoyed me. And it's on no way near your level of worst thing in the film. But as soon as the movie opens, it says, the Barbarian Brothers in The Barbarians. And I was like, yeah, okay, we get it.
Yes! No, I love that, because we got 2 different fonts that I wrote down. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, the two leads are the Barbarian Brothers. Their actual names are Peter Paul and David Paul. Paul, great last name.
I like Peter Paul.
Peter Paul.
Like Peter Parker.
He was bit by a radioactive ladybug. A dog?
Peter Paul sounds like Pick-a-paws. I don't know. It sounds like Peter Paul.
Pedophile. Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile.
Pedophile. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, don't like that at all. No, that doesn't feel right.
Hey, well, back to the Paul brothers.
Yeah, there's nothing really to say about them. They were just popular.
Yeah, they were. What have they done?
They were on TV a bunch. I think they did some wrestling. They probably did some radio. They didn't really do any movies, though. This was their big break into film, and it didn't work.
Let's just say it broke, all right.
For the rest of the cast, we've got Richard Lynch as the bad guy, Kadar. Or is it Kadar? The two brothers pronounce everyone's names differently. Because one of them says Kara, and one of them says Kara.
I think one of them's wrong, Sandro.
Yeah.
And that's the joke. Is that one of them's actively wrong because one of them's smarter than the other?
It could be the joke, or this could just be a bad film where the director didn't care enough to correct it.
No. I'm pretty sure that's the joke because one of them's the dumb one and one of them's the smart one.
True.
One of them has like a different jawline, like they have different jawlines for some reason.
That's right.
And that's how I could tell, and I could almost tell every time it was the other one on screen, and I was like, I can't tell why I can tell, but I can tell. Maybe it's just like the way they acted, because one was like big brute, one was more smarter brute.
Yeah, which is kind of why it reminded me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because like one of them was very... Is it Donatello who's the smart one?
Yes, I think so, Donatello.
And then there's the dumb one who's always eating pizza, and that was the other guy.
Oh, so you didn't even have Raphael.
Oh, that could be Kara, why not?
Because there was the big guy, because he was kind of like a Raph.
I love the Ninja Turtles.
Love
Big
them.
fan.
Big fan.
And also on topic, because in Cannibal Holocaust they killed turtles. So it's all connected this week, everyone.
Wow.
Eva LaRue plays Kara. She was in RoboCop 3, and that's about it. She was in an episode of the Elm Street TV show that I keep forgetting to mention that was a thing.
I think this was her big break.
I mean, she's the only good person in this, probably.
Yeah.
The villain's alright. I don't mind him.
The villain? No. This is definitely a low-quality villain. I was not a fan of this villain. And I love villains. Villains are my favorite characters in almost any piece of media.
Okay.
But this guy did not do it for me. Mostly because the start... with that long scene where he's laughing and flailing around the sword.
Yeah.
That was the most unintimidating villain scene I've ever seen in my life.
That went on for ages, and like the soundtrack kept looping.
Yes.
It was always comedic, it just kept
Because
looping.
it was so long for no reason anyway.
And there's the one as well where he's like, my smart plan to confuse the two brothers is to turn my horse around.
Yep.
This has got no critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but an audience score of 45.
Pretty high.
5 out of 10 on IMDb, so kind of split down the middle.
Hot damn. It only find me too high. Hot damn.
That was a long lead up to it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you had to do the little chorus bit first.
Yeah,
anyway.
$2.5 million budget. Only have American numbers, but what do you think it made off? $2.5 million.
You say 10.
It made $800,000.
That's a lot less than 2 mil.
I don't know.
I guess there's no critic score. I probably should have guessed that. When there's no critic score whatsoever, that means no one saw it.
But they pumped a lot of money into this.
Yeah.
Into this.
Like, you can see it in the effects. Like, they've got a lot of props and stuff for this movie.
Man, even Warrior and the Sorceress made more money than this.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
That's crazy. I mean, this is just American numbers, though,
Yeah.
so.
I don't think it would have gotten... Like, it probably got an Italian premiere, because it was also an Italian co-production, but I don't think it would have gone out to theaters anywhere else in the world.
Maybe the Italian version doesn't have the awful breathing, laughing.
No, it would be like,
Oh,
Italian.
man, that's bad.
And I can make that joke.
Can you?
Anyway, the taglines. There weren't any on IMDb, but there is one on Letterboxd. So this is the tagline you're stuck with, I guess.
I need a globe here so I can tick off each country and place as we offended, so we know that eventually we can have a globe that is just fully offended.
Have we got all the major ones so far? I feel like we would have.
We've got most of Europe, all of the US.
Not Canada. We haven't really made fun of Canada much.
No, remember I had that Canadian Zach?
Oh, that's right. You're not original Zach. You're Canadian Zach.
Yeah, I'm Canadian Zach. Yeah. Don't worry, we offended Canada a long time ago.
I can't even remember which episode that was from, but that was good.
That was a while ago. I'm still putting on my Australian accent for these episodes. I could go back to my hoity-toity. No.
That's Irish.
That's Irish, yep. Getting confused sometimes. See? And then tick off Irish, tick off Canada.
They're all ticked off.
Yeah, they are.
They are all ticked off. Anyway, the tagline is Warriors, Conquerors, Heroes.
Yeah, not the worst line, honestly. Not the worst.
What would be a better tagline?
No. If you liked Conan, you won't like this.
Well, we'll jump into it. Personally, I hated that the soundtrack was all 80s synth, because it really took me out of the fantasy world.
What? 80s synth is 99% of all fantasy. What are you talking about?
You're watching Conan and you're like, oh, it's this wonderful orchestral score. You're not like, oh, it's pumping beats and synth.
I love pumping beats and synth, though.
I do, but not in a fantasy.
I'm okay with it in fantasy. I like synth in all sort of fantasy genres stuff, because there's that sort of 80s era where synth was getting really big, and you have some of those, like the Neverending Story. Didn't that have a bit of synth and stuff in it? I can't remember.
I don't. A little bit, not much.
I don't know. It's just synth is very 80s and stuff for me, so it reminds me of old movies and stuff like this. I don't know. I was fine with synth. I like synth. I'm a big fan of synth.
I'm usually a big fan, but I don't know, just in the period setting.
Yeah, I did remember at the time going, this is interesting choice for music, so that's fair that it took you out.
Did you like the font, though, and how it comes on screen and then dissolves in a rather epic way?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So first, they go, the Barbarians.
The Barbarian Brothers in The Barbarian.
But the Barbarian Brothers has its own unique font.
Yes.
Before the other font. So I thought the first one was the font it was going to use. And I wrote that down. It was like green with like a white outline. Otherwise, it was like a normal, everyday font. And then, bam! The second font, straight from G.I. Joe Power Rangers. Big blocky angles, long shadows. Wow!
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, it looks straight from the Power Rangers.
It did. And then they went back to that like yellow outline one for the rest of the credits.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do.
That's what you do. But yeah, it was an odd choice to be like Barbarian Brothers in the Barbarians.
Yeah, that was weird. Why did they do that? I don't know. I guess they're the Barbarian Brothers, but I guess they were going to go around with the persona that they're the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah.
Maybe the sequel to this was the Barbarian Brothers in The Barbarians, the Destroyers. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the title, The Barbarians, it's a pretty solid title to describe them as well, because you got something like Conan the Destroyer for the sequel. He doesn't destroy anything in that movie, so it's not like he's not really a destroyer necessarily in that film. In this, they are barbarians.
Yeah. That's true. They're dumb. That's for sure.
Very.
Alright, it starts us off with a bit of narration as well.
A lot of exposition.
That's gonna be my addition to the tropes. A classic trope that is still alive to this very day.
Narration. Yeah, I'll add it.
A trope that I think has been around since the 50s.
Books existed, probably, yeah.
Since books existed. An entire book is just narration.
It is. Well, you think
just
about
telling you the story. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Since ancient times, narration.
Technically, we're narrating right now. We are becoming narrators.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my god, it's all narration.
Yeah. The narration was very much like, and then this happened and this happened. But I liked it because the landscape we're looking at while the narration is playing was very cool. It was like orangey with a bit of like yellow in the sky. There were like skulls on sticks. It was very nice.
Oh yeah, the like battlefield. Yeah, that was cool. It's funny to see where all their money went. Yeah. Like, they spent so much on these sets.
The sets, the costumes, the awful looking monsters.
Yeah, it was very visually well presented.
Yes.
The monsters were funny because they were bad. But that's probably cost them quite a bit. What did they pay the actors? It's probably not a lot.
Probably not much. I mean, aside from the Barbarian Bros, they're all just TV actors.
I guess they didn't have to afford them very much.
They would have had to fly them to Italy. But yeah, the opening sequence is quite good. I actually enjoyed it. Aside from the wailing around, which we'll get to.
The narration tells you about the old king who traded a mountain of gold for a gem containing all the laughter and joy and goodness and being a nice person and doing your taxes and shitting in the toilet instead of on the bed. It's all the nice things in the world.
So nice. Thank you, King.
You're welcome. I'm the wise king.
You were very wise.
As we're told, as I'm telling you right now, I'm the best because I knew that gold was bullshit, but laughter and happiness is good.
You did know that.
Get wise done, Dab.
I'm just criticizing the fact that that you would give that ruby containing all the laughter and the poop going in the toilet and whatever to a band of artists.
Well, that's what we are. That's who we are. That's what we are. We're a group. We're a tribe.
But there's other kings in the area.
Yeah.
So you calling yourself the Great King when you're just a performer, it's not entirely true.
Well, I was less of a performer, but once we got the gem of laughter and joy and whatever, we just had to go around and start singing and dancing and showing everyone.
Hey King.
Yeah?
What's up with the putting the gem in people's belly buttons to see if they're queen thing?
Look, don't question the wise words of the king. Don't question the fact that they all have to be virgins, That
was my favorite line in the film. Oh, we can have a new king. Hurry, collect the virgin. That was very funny.
Yeah, new queen. Yeah. That was good.
We'll get to the ending, but it was...
Wait, we only have 2 virgins in the whole tribe?
Apparently. And you can tell it's them because the gem fits in their belly button.
Don't question my choice of queen, all right? You know that the gem only fitted in one he thought, was the hardest looking. For surezies.
Oh, king.
Oh, wise king. Do not question the wise king's ways. Anyway, my tribe's gonna be all circusy, and because they're a circus tribe, they get free passage everywhere, which does literally nothing.
That makes... Yep. Mm-hmm.
The film starts with well, we'll get into that.
We'll get into it. But they've adopted 2 brothers and a sister. It's important. 3 kids.
They adopt 3 abandoned kids.
They're better actors than the Barbarian Brothers.
Yep.
The kids, they're good kid actors. Good on them.
Yeah, I like the kids. I guess they didn't really have much of a scene. They had that one scene where they both look at each other and then tell them that they bit off the fingers. Both of them at the same time. That was good. But that's about it.
But anyway,
so they are a band of traveling... They're pretty much a circus. They're a circus tribe.
Yep, they're a circus.
They literally have a guy who's just a clown, and they're breathing fire and they're juggling. They've pretty much just got a circus group to be this tribe.
There's a magician sort of guy who looks like the Birdman. No, the helicopter guy from Mad Max. He looks like him.
It's funny because they're not really a tribe. They are just a literal circus.
Yes.
And then they're going around, but because they have free passage, no one's allowed to attack them. And so we're joined immediately when people just attack them. And there's literally no consequences for attacking them. Literally, I think the bad guy when they're confronted, just says no. When the lady's like, we have free passage, you're not allowed to attack us with things. And the guy goes, no.
Yeah, because he's a king. So in the description of the film, he's described as the warlord Kadar. Except in this movie, he's got a castle and hundreds of people answering to his will. He's not just a warlord, he is like the emperor.
Yeah. Like, you could still be a warlord. You could still be a lord, with a castle and stuff.
Maybe if we saw the good guy's castle and it was like massive and way bigger, that would have added to like his one being more of like a fringe group of people who want to take over.
Do you know what else it would have added to?
Money.
The budget.
Yeah. They seem to not care about wasting money in this film though, so
that's true.
Let's do it.
Then the best character in the film, Afro guy, gets brutally killed by an axe to the head, and we just see blood appear on his head. And then he falls over and collapses.
I love this. It's like a running theme. It's like a running theme in the movie is the violence isn't violent, but the after effects and the makeup on faces are brutal.
Yeah,
you just don't see how it happened.
Props to the makeup.
I want to bring up the warlords have these like horse tripper things, these sort of spikes that they shoot into the ground and then like sides fling up.
Circus. That's the circus guy.
Or is that? Oh, yeah, no, the circus use them on the bat.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyway, they look super flimsy and they were like waving in the wind and it was very funny.
Yeah. It's like how does that doesn't look like it would work. So what happens is they're traveling along and then they get attacked by these like raiders and they have to speed up. They run away from them. They do some stuff. They're all in these horse carriages, by the way. They're all in these caravans.
And they're singing their songs and they're all happy.
Singing their songs, dancing, happy. And then these raiders come along riding on their horses and they try and catch up. And then they start fighting. One guy throws an orb that explodes.
Magician man.
Yeah, magician man, but
he seems surprised that it explodes, so I don't think he's a very good magician.
Probably not. Anyway, the princess is like, here's the gem, old man. Go hide it in the hiding spot.
His name is Greyshaft. I thought it was very funny. I was like, Greyshaft.
Greyshaft. I hardly knew it.
I don't know why I wrote that down, but I did.
Wow. So he's given the gem of ultimate joy and being nice and not telling lies and investing in property.
And buying up all the property and renting it to young people. And making the housing market ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good gem. I like the gem.
Solid gem.
It's a gem of a gem, one might say.
And not raising the minimum wage. And so he goes and hides the gem. Meanwhile, they think they got away from the bandits, and then immediately there's another group of bandits in front of them, and they're like, beans.
And the leader's like, I'm powerful. I'm going to walk up and down your caravan, continuously threatening everyone with my giant sword.
Oh, God, this is the worst scene of the movie. What was this? What the hell? It's like 2 minutes. So the bad guy rocks up and she's like, we can't be attacked. We have the right of free passage. And he's like, no. He literally just says no. And then says some other stuff. But I like how his reply to that was just no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, fair. I mean, if you're making the rules, you could probably just go no and capture them. Nothing's stopping you.
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be any consequences for his actions. So
No, which is why I think the gem thing, this is just like a fringe group of hippies who are like, we've got a magical gem, we're going to keep it safe. They're not like the rulers of the world. They're just like these...
No. Clearly not. But maybe they had some sort of... Maybe people just like them, so they don't attack them.
Yeah, maybe they're like the hobbits.
Yeah.
They're like, they're there. Good on them.
Yeah. But then this guy's just a dick and just attacks them for their magic gem.
Yeah. He kills someone as well. He stabs his giant sword ever so slightly into someone's chest.
Only after 2 minutes of him, like, laughing. A terrible laugh, by the way. Or, sorry to criticize, but that laugh, it was like, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha,
While the music is going da 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 da.
Oh my god. And then he's like threatening to stab people by flailing his sword around and then just doesn't. And then laughs again. He goes, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Like, this goes on for 2 minutes and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Canary is like being held by this giant muscle man and she's going, no, no. It's just a lot of noise.
This isn't menacing. This is stupid. God, it was lame. I hated it so much. Anyway, he eventually stabs someone and they're like, no! And then the kids pop out and are like, we're gonna fight you. And they fight him. And then one of them manages to bite his hand and then manages to rip off 2 of his fingers.
He agrees to not kill these 2 brothers if the queen becomes his personal slave.
Yes.
And he stays true to this for the entirety of the film.
Which, good on him. See, which is a mark of a good villain. If he weren't so terrible.
Yeah, he stays true to his words.
Also, she doesn't tell them where the gem is, which you could say is being disobedient. Which means she breaks her promise of being obedient. Which means he could just kill the barbarians.
That is true. But then he's also in love with her, apparently.
Yes.
So
what's happening there? Is he like not killing them to be merciful to her? Except he's getting around it by trying to make them kill each other.
Yes.
So clearly he wants them to die and is just causing them to die. So he's not being endearing in any way by doing that.
No.
So what's the point? What?
Plot reasons. Plot things?
Yeah, no. There's a lot of plot holes through this movie, and I'll point them out whenever I can.
I feel like this was a script that they found on a giant pile of leftover scripts, and they were like, which ones can we write the Barbarian Brothers into? I think that's what happened, because the script is not complete. It's not finished.
She could have just told them where the gem is, because the dragon protects it, and they could have gone there and been like, we tried to get it, but there was a dragon there. Now we don't know what to do. You have to tell us how to defeat this dragon. And then they're in a stalemate where, they can't go get the gem because it's a dragon. But anyway, it brings up all other these problems.
It's a lot of plot to add to this movie. By doing that, I think. So there's also this evil sorceress that works with Kitara.
I liked the sorceress more than most other characters.
She was cool. I did laugh when she said, "We must burn your fingers; they could be used against you." I was like, "That's kind of funny. That's a funny line."
Yeah. What do you mean?
I'm not seeing this movie do any like weird voodoo finger thing.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like, they could be used with magic against you, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then she burns them with her hands. It was cool.
She also asked them, I like this, she asked them who bit off the fingers, and they both replied that they did. They both did. So they're, like, defending each other. But it was the Raphael. It was Gore who bit off the fingers.
But anyway, they are sent to the pit. They're both separated. They haven't seen each other in many years.
Many years have passed, and 3 of the actors have aged.
Yeah.
I wondered if you were going to mention this, but I'm going to mention it first. The 2 barbarians grow up, and everyone in the tribe is still exactly the same age, apparently.
Yeah.
So is everyone else. It's only Kara and the 2 barbarians that ever age in this movie.
I mean, look, they do say back in the old days, people aged older. People lived longer back then.
People did live longer. That doesn't stop them aging, though.
I disagree. For the sake of this argument.
But why do these 3 people age rapidly into adults when the other teenage girl that's part of the tribe, like the wife of this one dude, doesn't age a bit and she still looks very young?
Because she didn't have to kill a dog in prison. You see, the 2 brothers, they're forced to kill a dog. And that, I think, makes you grow up mentally.
One of them get a snake and he picks it up and he throws it at the guard guy, which I thought was funny.
That guard guy was pretty funny.
That guy, so the bald guy with the horn, It was very funny. I liked him in every scene.
He was a good... Yeah, no, he was a good actor.
He was a good goon. Solid goonage right there. Because he's like laughing at their misery. He gets all frightened when things go wrong. He has a big... I wrote it down somewhere. He has a big freak out when they escape.
Yeah, he does the Darth Vader, no! Gets down on his knees. It was very good.
Yeah, which was great. So props to that guy. Props to that actor. He was good.
He looked a lot like the Rancor trainer. I don't think it is him.
Yes, that's what I got. That's what I got as well, because he was like the Rancor trainer when the Rancor died. He had that same sort of freak out when both of his big muscly goons left.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought. That's so weird.
I want to talk about the bad guy's plan, because his plan is that he's torturing these two brothers with people who are wearing helmets. Mm-hmm. And so one of the brothers has a helmet that's made out of gold, the other one has like a steel helmet or whatever. Yeah. So eventually, once they are forced to fight each other in an arena, they're both wearing the helmet that they were tortured by, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, no.
I think that's clever.
Yeah. It's pretty smart. I had a question. Why are those two the only ones that get super ripped buffed? And the rest of the people in the pit are like malnutritioned, weak, and dying? Like, because there's a lot of exercise and stuff, but if you're not fed... I guess you could explain it away that they fed them up to kill each other.
Yeah.
But we don't get an actual scene of that, so the movie doesn't explain it. But I can explain it for the movie, saying that they would, like, try and bulk them up so they could kill each other, make a better show or something.
I think they were doing that. Maybe they just found some sort of, like, steroids in the dirt, and they were like, what's this weird mineral? And they started eating it, and it made them buff.
What? They found a needle on the ground, and they're like, ooh! Yep.
Look, all I'm saying is that I should not write serious movies.
Yeah. I agree.
So they've got to fight each other. The fight is super reckless because they're in this very narrow fighting arena with like these two walls on either side.
The walls are made of like wood and they're just like gates.
Yeah.
And so you have bystanders like reaching their arms through the gates and like jeering and everything. My favorite is one of them gets his hands chopped off.
I was going to say that, yeah.
And I'm like, thank God. Good stuff. Fuck that guy. You idiots. These two guys are flinging around swords and you're jeering and putting your hands through the gate. What do you expect's going to happen? He deserved it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Just think about your safety when you're seeing two goons try and kill each other. Also, they should have made better helmets. Like, put proper straps, maybe not make the helmets out of cardboard.
That would help.
You know, that disintegrate on touch. Otherwise, this plan could have gone through, and I would be much more happy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
No, it's wild. That was pretty ridiculous. I laughed so much at how quickly the helmets came off, and then as soon as the helmets were off, the Queen was like, "It's you two! Help me!" And then immediately they were like, "Oh, we're brothers, let's go," and they just left.
You gotta mention, they had a conversation first. It's like, "Hey, you lump of hog piss, why do you look like me?" And the other one's like, "Gore, it's me."
There's no mirrors, how do they know what they look like?
Yes, exactly, that's what I was gonna bring up. How the freak do they know what they look like? I guess they could see themselves in puddles or something. But, like, the ability to recognize yourself instantaneously, it's like, "Why do you look like me, you lump of hog piss?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Gore, you idiot, it's me." And then the princess is like, "Hey, you guys need to save me." And they're like, "Oh, right, yeah, we're best bros now.
Yep.
Let's escape without any conversation whatsoever, any plan. We're just going to simultaneously lift the support beams of the building together, out of nowhere. They're just working together now.
And push all the people back. They jump on horses, they ride off.
Yeah.
No one really chases them.
No, even though the villain goes, "Get after them," there's not really a chase or anything.
They run away and they find the character who we later come to know is Kara or Kara, depending on who's saying it. She's stuck in a cage because the old tribe that they used to belong to, the entertainers, the performers, they have locked her up.
Yeah, so here's bringing several questions.
Every scene of this film brought questions.
Yeah, there's no...
Nothing makes sense.
She's from their tribe.
I guess she left for a little while.
Yes, but that's never explained.
No.
That they just, like, somehow forgot, because she's stuck with the tribe. She wasn't captured and put into the pit or whatever, like the rest of them. How did the rest of them escape? Weren't they all captured?
I think they were all captured. Or maybe they were let go, and that's a part of the Queen's plea?
Yeah, but they never explain that.
They don't ever say anything.
So why don't they recognize her? They obviously don't recognize the Barbarians because it's been like years, even though, to be fair, they look exactly the same as years ago. Because clearly these boys have aged like at least 10 years or something.
Quite a bit. And even if they've escaped because of the Queen's plea, the Emperor guy, he would have gone to them thinking that they know where the jewel is. How are they all still alive? How aren't they, like, how are they just living out in the woods? Oh, it's also very important to mention that the kids, all three kids were tattooed with the mark of the tribe.
Yeah.
Except as soon as they show up, like, saying who they are, they're like, we're the brothers. They don't immediately check for the tattoo.
They have a literal thing where they can tag people to know who's part of the tribe, and they don't immediately go, oh, you're part of the tribe?
Yeah.
Let's check your necks. And they go, cool, check our necks. Boom. Like, even they know that. They could have mentioned that. But because of the story, they have to be all hostile to each other. What the fuck was this plot hole? This was such a glaring. The rest of it I can look over, if not for this one thing, which is specifically so they can recognize other people from the tribe, and they don't bring it up.
Which also completely ruins Kara's storyline, because she's in a cage.
Yeah.
And her tattoo's not on her neck, it's on her arm.
Yeah.
It's like, it's on the inner point of her arm. They would have seen that, probably, getting her in the cage.
Yeah.
Because she's not wearing long-sleeved stuff. No one's wearing long-sleeves. No one's wearing tops in this show.
Also, she would have absolutely mentioned, oh, hey, I'm part of your tribe, let me go. Because she doesn't want to be captured, unless she's forgotten somehow. The story doesn't make any fucking sense, and it's bad. It's bad so you could have a fucking twist at the end to go, oh, look, she had the tattoo the whole time. Oh, look, the Barbarians had the tattoo. Wow, we're best friends again. What? You're dumb. Your plot's bad. I hate you.
It's awful.
It's definitely the worst plot hole we've encountered throughout. At least these bad movies don't have glaring plot holes.
No, a lot of them are like, we've got to get from point A to point B, bad stuff happens along the way. This film is like, we're trying to have plot points.
Why didn't you go around like this way? You could have been easier. Why didn't you do this? No, this is like, no, you should have done this, because it actively would have helped you and stopped you doing bad things. Yeah, it's dumb for the sake. It's bad. It made me mad. As soon as they revealed the tattoos on the neck and it's like, oh, hey, they're part of the tribe, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You literally just tried to hang them.
Yeah.
It's obviously so the hanging scene can just be in.
The hanging scene is so dumb. That was the first moment when I went, oh, I was enjoying this on like a dumb campy level, but now these two brothers are ruining it.
Yeah, no, this is where the point of the movie goes from, okay, fun campy movie to a bad movie.
This is it. Because they're being hung, and the joke is, I could break free of my chains. The joke is, I can go inside the neck thing, and it makes it so it falls off, because I'm moving my neck.
He breaks the noose by doing that breathing thing and, like, flexing his neck muscles. You can't do that with your neck. I understand the next one, who breaks his bonds and then, like, rips the tree down.
It's fair enough.
That's good. That works for me. But the neck one, nope. But he does that thing, the breathing laugh, and this is the first time we hear it in the film, and oh boy, I was like, I I, like, physically went, oh boy, I hope they don't do that again.
And they do.
Fuck me, dude. And he goes, that's his laugh. That's his laugh throughout the film. And
it must be a thing he actually does, because there's no other reason. Like, no one would write that and think that's funny. That's something where he's like, hey, I've got this funny idea that my character does this really bad laugh. It's a really funny joke.
I definitely think it's his idea or something like that. It's a dumb thing. I don't think he does it outside this film, though.
I would hope not,
yeah,
but I wouldn't put it past him. But anyway, they all team up. They team up with soon-to-be-revealed as Kara, and they go to a tavern to get some weapons, like arm wrestle with this guy who owns a bunch of weapons.
I liked the tavern, because there's this sexy lady that's doing a dance for the guys, and then they go have this arm wrestling match with this dude. And over the other side of the tavern, once the fight breaks out, this lady screams. Like, she would have had to be looking at them and actively, like, watching from the other side of this long-ass room.
Yeah.
And she just decides to scream, and then they have a fight.
They have a big fight, and they don't manage to get any weapons. It's a completely unimportant sequence.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they hype up this weapon dude, and he's nothing.
No. Then Kara realizes, oh, the queen, Canary, is being kept inside the king's harem, and there's a secret passage to get into the harem. Turns out it's literally just this passage that goes from part of the city into the room. That's just covered up by, like, a boulder. It's this.
To be fair, you'd need to be two big barbarian boys to move said boulder.
You would.
But, like, why don't they have something on the other end of the tunnel? Why is there this long-ass tunnel? I think it's, like, supposed to be an escape route.
I guess.
That's my theory. My theory would be it's like, oh, the palace is being attacked, there's assassins, I'm going to use the secret passage into the main town. Which would make sense. There were those in medieval castles.
Except, why would you cover it with a giant boulder that will take 6 people to move? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one's a bit weird. But I guess maybe it's easier from the inside. Maybe they have a crowbar lever, you know?
Maybe the sorceress is like, move!
Oh, that's true.
Moves.
You've got a sorceress.
Yeah.
That is true.
We need to mention this, though. Before they go into the tunnel, they're sneaking around town.
Oh, God. All right.
And a guard comes up to them, and the brothers are like, we need to act like all these sexy people having sexy times here on the street. Let's make out.
Yep.
And the two brothers...
Yep.
And, like, it's not like they've got their heads there, and you don't see anything, and they're obviously just pretending. No, they're actually making out.
They're snogging.
You see it. And it makes it weirder because they're actually brothers.
But I get the idea, though, because that's a thing that you kiss and people don't want to look at you.
Mm-hmm. But...
like, that's an Inception and stuff.
But why?
Well, it works. The guard looks away.
It's another moment where I'm like, was this their idea? Because who would write this? Who would write a movie about this where these two brothers make out? It's got to be their idea.
I feel like the writing's pretty consistent for these level of ideas, Sandro. You keep saying it's their ideas, but it's quite possible that it's just the writer and this is their idea of funny.
If so, I want to meet that writer.
Yep.
And give that writer a handshake.
Uh-huh.
And then be like, leave my house, dude.
What? This is my house. You came to me. You visited. So you said you wanted to visit
my
and
house.
tell me. And then I'd stab him.
Oh, yeah. And then Zach would appear from behind a curtain.
Shouldn't have turned your back. Whatcha?
And we'd be like, it was our whole plan all along.
And then we'd stand above him and he's bleeding and dying out and we go...
And I'd go, oh, here, dying guy, have this knife. Actually, I want the knife back. I preferred the knife.
Oh...
We'll get to that bit.
That's at least a bit where I went, okay, this is a dumb, cheesy thing that they do, but, like... It makes sense for their characters, and it's a dumb bit. It's a dumb bit that they keep repeating, but it isn't actively annoying. The breathing in and out, the laughter and stuff, is a repeated joke, and it's actively irritating, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But that one, I was like, oh, this is a cute little thing. He's like, this guy wants what the other guy has, but as soon as he has it, he wants the thing back, you know?
That was okay. My problem with it is how much time it took for that whole joke to play out.
Oh, yeah. I was fine with it, though. Honestly, it was the least awful joke.
So they go through the tunnel, they're in the harem now, and they're talking to the queen. But it's important that someone else in the room is listening in on them and is going to report to the bad guy later on. That is important to know. Anyway, she's like, don't free me. Don't do the thing I asked you to do. You have to get the stone first.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Why didn't you say, here's what she should have done. She should have gone,
Remember the stories.
Yeah.
That's what she should have done in the first scene where she realizes it's the brothers. Because this is what she does now. She goes, remember the stories I told you? That was actually hints to finding the actual gem. That sort of thing. She should have done that in the first place instead of rescue me.
Yeah.
You know, help me. Which actively would have put them in danger rather than heading them in the right direction. Because now she's like, oh no, never mind. You go do the quest now instead of rescuing me. Which allows someone to listen in and, you know, things to go wrong. If she had originally just gone, hey, remember the stories? And they went, oh, what was the stories? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it was go defeat this dragon. We need to go get it. That would have made way more fucking sense. But this movie is a pile of shit.
Yeah, and so she's like, what are you doing coming in here? Trying to rescue me, and it's gonna get us all killed.
What do you mean? You actively told us to come and rescue you. We're doing exactly what you told me to.
Shut up. What are you doing?
So then they're like, cool, we gotta go defeat this dragon. Let's just go bang some ladies first.
They bang all the ladies in the harem.
Ha ha ha.
Every single one of them. And then they leave. And, first they need some sacred weapons to kill the dragon. So they go to the tomb of an ancient king where there is this man-wolf, this wolf-man. It's the first time in the film where they set up an epic action sequence, only for it to end with, he gets killed by an arrow.
Oh, not an arrow and a chop to the head.
All I'm saying is it sucked.
Yeah, so there's this long sequence where nothing happens for ages, and then they find this sort of ancient temple thing, and they get this ancient weaponry, but they're attacked by a wolf man and some, like, undead arms that just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what they were connected to.
No one does. And then, the wolf man attacks them, and they chop off its head. Then they start flailing its head around and make howling noises.
Of course they do. And Kara's like, you two are idiots.
And good on her, because she's right.
She's the best character in the film. I mean, I'm so glad she's on the journey, because if it was just the other two, I would have lost my mind.
honestly, she was the best character, and I found her kind of annoying.
The Barbarians go to the Ruby now, but we know from previous scenes that the Sorcerer and the bad guys have already beat them to it. And the Sorcerer uses magic, and she takes out the stone, and then there's big...
She does, like, Scarlet Witch hands.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, that's just magic hands.
It's just
Sandra.
magic
That's
hands.
how magic works. Then, like, there's a storm above the like, palace where the warlord is, and he's like, oh! And he flails his sword around like an idiot. He looks like a moron.
And I was very confused, because while that's happening, we see the face of the dragon. And, like, what's actually happening is the dragon is killing the sorcerer. I thought them taking the ruby made the dragon attack the city, which is why the king was kind of, like, flailing around.
Oh.
So I was very confused for, like, 2 minutes after this scene. Because I was like, did the dragon just attack the city? Because that's kind of what the editing leads you to believe. But also I was only half paying attention because this film sucks. So it's my bad.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, the guy flailing about was just him flailing about because there was weird magic storm. He doesn't like magic very much. Anyway, she takes the gem and she's like, haha, I have the gem, I'm gonna kill everyone. And then the dragon pops up and it's like, hey,
I'm just a giant head in a tube.
I look like a sausage dog that's slimy. Achoo!
It's the worst dragon I've ever seen. Even worse than CGI dragon from Dragonheart. This is worse than that. I hate this dragon.
Yeah, but it was scary at least. Scary as in it was like an abomination. It wasn't really a dragon. It was like abomination.
Yeah, burn that thing.
Anyway, the barbarians rock up.
Yeah, they rock up, they realize, oh, the ruby's gone. Where is it? The sorceress must have took it. And then the dragon shows up, and they're like, we can't defeat the dragon. Are we going to run, or are we going to fight? And they're like, we're gonna run. And then Kara comes up with this idea where they hide in a hole. The two brothers, they hide in this hole, this giant pit in the ground that's somehow there. She kind of goads the dragon over to her, so the dragon's neck is hanging over the hole. And then the two brothers kill it by stabbing the neck.
Yep.
Because they're underneath it.
Yep. Which is a fair plan. But 1, requires there to be a hole. 2, requires Rotten Tomatoes. The only pictures they have are of them in the hole, which is very funny.
That was very funny.
It's like, what a random ass picture to be the one picture they have. The hole to be there. 2, the dragon to not look down.
Yep.
At all.
The dragon to have most of its body be a neck as well.
Which I guess it is. Yeah. Which is why she comes up with the plan on the fly, you know?
It's not interesting.
I don't think it's stabbing the neck. I thought it was stabbing the stomach.
Or maybe it is stabbing the... Because then they climb up into the stomach, so maybe it was the stomach.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
you know?
It's not interesting either. There's no stakes.
Yeah, no.
It's just... It's dumb.
I mean, look... The stakes aren't killing the dragon so much as the threat of the bad guy, you know? The dragon's just an obstacle.
But the bad guy, we've already seen that he just flails around and wastes meaningless time while laughing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The bad guy's terrible, and that doesn't help the movie in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, when they stab the dragon, just slime pours out from its stomach all over them.
It turns into Nickelodeon.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And then the dragon dies like a guy doing a bad ambulance impression, is what I wrote down. It's like... That's the scream that the dragon does as it dies. So that was the scene.
That was funny.
And then they climb inside the dragon's stomach, which is somehow lit up because... I guess the gem's lighting it up. And then they find the gem and they grab it.
Yeah, they find the gem.
They got it! Yay!
And then as they're walking back out of the Forbidden Land, I think it's Gore, he turns to Kara and says, I know you're the sister. And she's like, what?
And then, so he gives her the gem. And it's like, go back to the tribe.
And she takes it back to the traveling tribe.
Meanwhile, the bad guys found the sorcerer has whipped up the princess, and he's like, "No, my precious princess, why you whipped up? You traitorous sorcerer! I hate you."
Yeah, boo! Don't hurt.
I'm a scary bad guy. And then he takes the princess and the rest of his boys, and they go to the swamp.
Yeah, is it princess or queen? Who cares?
Then they go to the swamp, and she's like, you can't even see the gem, because the gem's only for eagle eyes, and snake eyes would only be blinded.
Oh.
And then she starts using some magic.
Which she could apparently do this whole time.
Yep.
Is use magic.
I think the swamp, because it's in close proximity to the gem, I think is the idea that her magic gets stronger.
Maybe, because, yeah, her magic is directly linked to the gem, so...
Except, why didn't she use this magic the first thing they did encounter? Like, they could have done this. At the start of the movie, when she's fighting, she could have used some magic to kill some goons, and then the sorceress comes in and is like, I cancelled out your magic.
That would have made more sense.
I used my magic to cancel your magic. And she's like, no. But no, she's just had magic this whole time and uses it. And the bad guy freaks out thinking she's trying to escape and stabs her.
Just slightly enters his sword into her chest. And she's like, oh, tiny stab wound. I'm going to die now slowly.
Yeah, the whip wounds looks like they whipped deeper.
Yeah.
Anyway...
So she's dead, and so that means that the ruby has now turned into a stone, because the ruby is directly connected to the queen.
The queen. Yeah, and then the villain's really sad, but it's boring, and then,
I mean, you're not wrong.
yeah. And then the village guy's like, oh no, the stone, it's out of power. But then the stone gleams again, and they're like, oh, quick, we need to get a new queen. We can have it. Quick, hurry, bring all the virgins.
Yep. Yeah, there's that line, hurry, bring all the virgins. They put the stone into the belly button of the only two in the tribe.
Both of them fail to keep the stone in the belly button.
It's such a weird scene because we got a close-up of the belly, and the actors feel awkward.
But then Kara's like, I'm here. And the guy's like, oh, quick, you go. Come over here. And then he
grab her, and she yells, she protests. She says, let go of me, I am no virgin.
Yep.
Which was very funny.
I liked it, and he was like, no time to be boasting, or something like that, you know. And then they put the gem in her belly button, and she becomes the new queen.
And then they're like, what? But no one outside the tribe can become the queen. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, the twist is finally coming up that we've known since the start of the movie. No!
And she reveals that on her inner arm that everyone would have seen already, because no one wears tops in this movie, she's got the tattoo and is a part of the tribe.
No one, not a single man, woman, or child wears a top.
So she's now queen. Great stuff. We cut back to the brothers. They are fighting Qatar in the valley.
Yes, so he's riding on a horse. They're riding on their feet.
They're riding on the budget of this movie.
Yes, so they got their mystical weapons that they use to kill the dragon. And Qatar rushes them.
He's got this magic shield of reflection that
he
reflects the sun, but it's so obviously like special effects reflection. It's very funny.
He blinds them and then swipes at them. But during that, they break the shield by just hitting it. I guess it's because their weapons are also magic.
Probably.
Then he's like, wow, this shield sucks. He throws that aside. Then he has a new plan.
Yes, what is this plan?
He sheathes his sword and turns his back. He turns his horse around. And they're like, what the fuck? So they start slowly approaching, and then he's like, ha-ha! And he pulls out two daggers, and he just, like, backswing, turns his horse around, ducks down, and slices them both with a dagger.
Yeah, now they've both got tiny slits on the side of their chests, and they're like, ouchie wouchies! And I wrote down, this is the worst final fight ever.
Yeah, but then he comes around again, and they knock him off his horse. This was another thing. This horse and the horse at the very start of the movie, they get knocked over. So that looks like those poor horses got knocked over.
Yeah.
So that's a trope. That's one of the tropes.
Yeah, poor horses.
He gets knocked off his horse and drops his sword. And then the other barbarian picks up his sword. And so now the two barbarians both have a sword. One has one mystic sword, one has the bad guy's sword. And so the bad guy just pulls a crossbow out of nowhere that he apparently had this whole fight that he could have just pulled out earlier.
Yes.
Like, this crossbow comes out of nowhere, and it's like, what? And then he tries to fire the crossbow.
Yeah, but just like a gun, say, in a movie.
Yeah.
Crossbow jams.
Okay, I had several things. I thought that, he tried to pull the trigger, but he's using the wrong hand, and the wrong hand has his fingers missing.
That would make sense.
He just doesn't think about it, because he hasn't used this crossbow in years, and he uses the hand with no two fingers, and so he tries to pull the trigger, but of course his hand doesn't have fingers.
Yeah.
Which was so dumb.
That is dumb. That is somehow as dumb as it jamming, but either one I think works.
Because the whole comeuppance thing is like, oh, he doesn't have fingers, so he can't pull the trigger of his crossbow.
So that means that in many ways, the brothers were the people that completely defeated him. They caused his downfall from the beginning.
Because they then yeet both the swords at him and he gets impaled twice. Which looked pretty cool. I liked the double impalement.
I quite like that.
That was the only good bit of, stabbing.
In the entire film. And then they join the tribe again. There's a bunch of dumb jokes, and it ends on a freeze frame.
Yeah, after doing the grass is greener gag, where he's like, I want the reins. Wait, no, you can have the reins back. I want the whip back. And he's like, oh, I that's okay. I liked the reins better anyway. And the guy's like, oh.
Yeah, and then it ends on a freeze frame of them laughing at that joke while a song called Ruby Doll plays. Because, unfortunately, this film doesn't have a song in it called The Barbarians, but it does have a song in it called Ruby Doll, which does tie in directly to the Ruby. And it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. It was really bad. And that is The Barbarians.
Whew, what a movie.
It's quite possibly the most plot hole ridden film we've ever done.
Yeah, this has definitely got the most plot holes. The plot makes zero sense. And it's just throughout the movie there are things like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't this happen? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
And it's all so this plot can go on this specific line that they've written out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad. And the brothers aren't good. They're not funny.
No.
They're not good actors. I guess they're swole.
They're okay. They are thoroughly okay.
I feel like the lines were really bad and they made the most out of it, but they weren't particularly great.
Yeah. I'm very amazed that the director made this, that this is his film. I think that is very funny, that he was probably so strapped for cash that he was like, sure, I'll be the second director on this weird fantasy movie. So, look, all in all, terrible film. It's obviously an oldie. I don't know if it feels like a January movie or not, though.
This feels like a January movie to me. I would absolutely... Yeah, but I hate plot holes like this. They bore into me. They're like a screw.
Yeah.
That slowly, because it's throughout the movie, the rest of the movie, the screw tightens. Because the plot hole that happened earlier affects the rest of the movie.
Yes.
And the more screws you have, and they're all twisting at the same time, and it just bores into me, and it's like an act of torture. So I very much hated these plot holes, and it drove me insane watching this movie. And also that laughing, I hated it so much that I just want to give it the January, just for that. Just for that.
Or we could give it the award, which is the worst than an Oldie
I don't want
award
to. I don't want to hear that sound ever again in my life. To be honest.
Yeah, all right. I think this definitely deserves the January movie award. This is a big old January film.
This is definitely a January movie. This felt like it came out in January to me. Honestly, this could easily have just been a random January movie. This is the most January movie I think we've done.
Oh, Quartermain. Oh, no, that was trying to be a film.
Yeah, because it's not so much bad. It's just a January film.
Yeah.
It's like you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like a why put money towards this?
Yeah. Like, that the studio's ashamed of this film, so they release it in January, hoping no one sees this.
And this is a Canon Group film, and if they're ashamed of this, it's gotta be awful.
Yeah.
So, great. Well, that means it's time for Add and Remove, the segment where we can add one thing and remove one thing. If I'm gonna add anything, it would be a decent fight. Because if you're going to compare this movie to, maybe not Quartermain, but maybe something like Conan the Destroyer, the sequel that wasn't particularly great.
I mean, we gotta compare it to something equivalent, where this is literally trying to rip off Conan, and try and get that big barbarian energy going.
Yeah, and it is quite similar to the sequel in that it's quite cheap. It's a stupid adventure. And, not as good as the first one either. But it does feel a lot like the sequel. Yet the sequel, while really bad, had that cool scene with the sorcerer and the mirrors. It had pretty decent fights that had...
I would go and watch The Destroyer again. Just for some of those cool scenes and stuff.
Definitely.
'Cause that's what it did. It did one thing well.
Yes.
Whereas this movie didn't.
This film did not at all. So I think that's the one thing I would add is some decent fights like in Conan. And the one thing I
Yeah.
would remove is the Barbarian Brothers. Get rid of them. Recast them with someone else.
Wow.
Just any other two actors.
You hated them.
They're not good. I'm sorry, you two, if you're listening.
I was okay with them. I just felt like their ongoing gags sucked.
Yeah.
But that's alright. So what I would add was a better villain. Because a villain is the antithesis to the good guys. So you got to have a good guys and good bad guys. So the villain needs to be way more smarter. Mm-hmm. All the plot holes throughout this movie need patching, so there's no doing there. So I can't really fix this movie. I'd have to change like every aspect of this movie. So instead, I'm gonna propose a sequel.
Okay, let's go. Haven't had a sequel in a while.
The Destroyers.
The Destroyers. Yeah, because it's Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer.
The Barbarians, the Destroyers. It follows them after all this happening, where one of them has to marry Kara to become the king of the tribe.
Aren't they related? That's how I read it. I thought they were all siblings. All right, sure.
Or maybe they are. I don't know. Or maybe they're sent out of the tribe to try and find wives or something. I don't know. They look.
Cast more females? No. They marry Kara. We're not going to cast more women.
No. Don't worry. They're gonna have barely any acting whatsoever in this film. They're just gonna be beautiful girls. That's their one thing that they need to do. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna go out and they're gonna be like, we need to get some wives, get some kingdoms going. But there's an evil king that's caused all this misery in the land, which is why he's actually the guy who sent the warlord after the gem.
And his name is
John Cena.
He'd do it.
Yeah, he would make a great villain. Hey, you know what? It's John Cena.
Yay.
And he's a great counterpart because he's also super buff.
He is.
So he's playing the evil king. Let's call him Falcor. I want to call him Falcor. Evil King Falcor.
All right.
Because that was the first name I thought of, and I'm like, yes.
For some reason, the first name I thought of was Mustafa.
Mustafa Falcor.
Oh, it's like an Italian mob boss.
Yes, exactly. And that's how he's going to be a king. We've got John Cena playing an Italian mob boss who is a king. Like, he's not an actual, but he acts like an Italian mob boss.
My name's Mustafa Falcor, see?
Ah, I see you've come into my kingdom, looking to fight with me. So, yeah, they find out that he's sent after this gem. And so they travel through the harsh lands, the Badlands, as they're called, to the castle. And they go through some trials and tribulations. We get some actual fighting with some bandits. Mm-hmm. And we'll make this fighting actually like the Conan fighting, where they just kind of bat each other.
And the same tink noise plays over and over again.
Yes, correct. But at least there's some fighting, you know?
Yeah.
And then they get to the kingdom, and the king's like, well, you may have my daughter's hands in marriage, because he's got two daughters, obviously.
Of course, they're both twins and look alike, making it even creepier.
Yep. But you must do these couple of tasks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and then he does some impossible tasks for them to do.
Like a Hercules sort of.
Yeah, do a Hercules sort of thing. And then when they come back after doing these crazy wacky tasks where they get into some adventures, they come back and he's like, all right, and the last task will be to defeat me.
So classic.
Yes.
And they just both throw their swords at him and he gets skewered.
Yes, in the last scene they go, because earlier on in the film, it's like they talk about just throwing their swords or something, and it's like, nah, that would never work. This time they just look at each other, they take one look, they nod, and then they just yeet the swords at him, and he's like, oh! And then just stabbed. Yes! Perfect ending.
Perfect.
So yeah.
I like that idea. All right. Well, review time.
It's time for
Oh,
Ray review.
I knew you were gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You still weren't prepared.
oh, it's bad.
There was not enough mental preparation for that. So first off, we have Robert, who says, in an ancient time, twin bodybuilders try to find a magic ruby and kill the evil king who enslaved them as children. Moronic, but hilarious.
Oh yeah, and these are Rotten Tomato reviews.
Yeah. Everyone knows the Rotten Tomato views.
It's probably some new listeners. Hello, new listener. Hell is where you are now entering.
Yeah, this is hell. Rotten Tomatoes audience scores. So these are all audience scores, no critics scores, because critics are wrong.
There weren't any available for this movie anyway.
Yeah, which always helps.
Out of 5, I'm gonna say that gets a 2.5. Actually, no, 2.
Ooh, you were close. It was actually 0.5.
It was not close at all. I don't know why you said I was close.
I said it because you would be excited for a mere moment before I crushed your dreams.
That's true.
Yeah, so Gene says, love this movie, but can't find it on DVD.
Aww.
So sad, Gene.
sad.
Can't find it on DVD. It's probably a good thing.
I think it is on Blu-ray.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's probably quite positive. So I might go 3.5 actually.
It's actually 5 out of 5.
Why?
She loves this movie. She can't even find it on DVD. If she's been searching for it on DVD, she's clearly a fan,
That's true.
Sandro.
That's true.
I feel like that's on you this time.
That's true actually.
You should get along with this guy. You and him can relate on a fundamental level. Mr. D says so this is where Game of Thrones ripped everything off. They don't have a dragon that looks like a skinny dog, though.
It's true.
Oh, like a skinned dog.
Like a skinned dog. Was Game of Thrones before this? I think the book might have actually come out before this.
Probably.
No, the book was 96, so 9 years too late.
So this is where Game of Thrones ripped it all off.
This is where it started from. That's probably a 2. It doesn't sound positive to me.
It's 4 out of 5.
These audience reviews.
Don't worry. I think Tristan's got your back. I
said that last time.
No. Tristan, you know what Tristan's all about. 3 stars.
Oh.
Because we don't get to see movies like this anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. So many problems with that review. And also, like, watch any other 80s film and there's more softcore.
It's not a classic. Yeah.
Anyway, that's says 3 stars. So I'm actually gonna believe this guy and say 3 stars.
It was 3 stars. It was 3 stars. All right. You didn't psych yourself out.
No.
And choose a different thing. No. All right. We've got a couple more. We've got Kerem, who says it's awesome in a lame B movie sort of way.
4.5. No, 4 out of 5 actually.
It's 2.5 out of 5.
All right.
See, this is the legitimate review I put at this point to throw you off because you've been doing, I put whack-ass reviews for the rest of it. So you're like, all right, this sounds like it would be a 2.5, but all the other ones have been weirdly positive or something. I'll just choose.
Too.
And then finally, we have what we can all agree on, which is Nico says, best worst movie ever.
It's either half a star or 5. And I'm going to go 5. Because this film's got 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's true. It's a 3 out of 5.
Oh, it's not even the best then, apparently.
Should have gone for that 50%. Because 50%, that's closer to
That's
3.
That's right. Well,
the best worst movie ever.
That is the episode then.
Yep.
Thank you so much for putting up with us talking about and losing our minds with the Barbarians this week.
What a movie. What a movie that we witnessed. It's good to be back to the real roots of this show. Complete shit.
Complete garbage.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, if you want to hear us talk about more garbage, you can. We do have our Patreon. If you sign up for $5 a month, you get 2 bonus episodes a month, plus also maybe some extra new movie reviews, because we need to do Godzilla vs. Kong. Might be doing Mortal Kombat eventually. So yeah, all that stuff on there. Link in the description. Most recent episode was on Mannequin, and that film, oh boy.
Was a film.
If you want to get in touch with the show, you can on Facebook, emails, Instagram, YouTube, links to everything in the description. And I think that's all we need to mention. Oh, and if you want to help out the show, just tell a friend. That also helps out as well. Or review us on iTunes.
If you made it all this way, tell a friend. Be like, hey, have you heard this podcast? And be like, what? I haven't spoken to you in years. Why are you talking to me now? And just be like, hey, this is a good podcast. You should check it out.
Yeah.
It's like, we met in preschool and we haven't talked since. Why are you talking to me now? And it's like, it's a good podcast. Just saying.
It's a great podcast.
It's like, and they'll be like, well, thank you for telling me. I'll check it out.
I'll check
That's
it out.
That's how it'll go.
What are we doing next week?
Well, you have a couple of choices. One of them is the one you have to do. And
Have to do?
And yes. And one of them's another one.
Oh,
so
no.
we have Law of Desire.
The one I have to do with a title like that.
Yes. Spanish comedy thriller about a director and his boyfriend. It's a big festival hit.
Nice. All right. So a good film, probably.
Yeah. Big, good film. Lots of people. And then we have Police Academy 4!
Shit.
Pew, pew, pew! Citizens on patrol! This Police Academy film is about the original characters training a group of new recruits who are actually civilians.
Wasn't that the plot of 3? I think that was the plot of 3.
That was the exact plot of 3. Wow.
Well, I guess I have to pick Police Academy number 4.
Seeing as we've already reviewed the other one on Patreon and stuff,
Yeah.
we should probably review Police Academy 4.
Can't be worse than the other ones, right?
Sandro, why would you say that? You fool.
I'm so excited. For number 4, the one where the cast members didn't return afterwards. It's going to be great.
Really? Wow.
I think it's the last one with like Mahoney and stuff, yeah. All right, next week.
Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
I wonder if this one will have a story. I hope so.
Can't have worse of a story than this movie.
That's true. Actually, it won't have as many plot holes. You're probably right.
Right?
All right, we'll wrap it up there with the best quote from the Barbarians. My favorite quote has to be... Hurry! Bring all the virgins!
Alright, I'll go with my favorite quote, which is just after that. Wait, there's only 2 virgins in the entire drive?
But I will end with the audience's favorite quote. Not ours, because we hate it, but the audience.
Yeah.
Their favorite quote. I will then channel them. Let me just get a feeling of where they're at. Yep, their favorite quote is definitely... That hurt. It hurts to do and to listen to. Sounds like a cow giving birth.